things, not what your body can do. So if you choose to, you know, do a job and do it well, then you can.
Dan, Mike, how do we transfer this, the personal that Lucy's telling us about, to the universal or the pandemic? I mean, how do you translate that attitude, for instance, to the spread of HIV/AIDS in not just Africa, but in Mike's case, where you've been working in Asia too?
Do countries have moods like people?
Yeah.
Well, in a sense, they do. I think that the countries have attitudes, and the prevailing attitude in South Africa at the moment is one that is very positive towards controlling the disease. There is an openness about the HIV pandemic, for instance. That wasn't there before. There is less denial and less stigmatization. And I think it's that kind of attitude, that positive, accepting, and attitude with determination to confront the problem that is useful.
But I wonder if there's another level to it, Mike, which is that Lucy's being incredibly honest to herself and to the world. And as we've learned from Dan, in part of the problem in Africa with HIV/AIDS has been a public dishonesty. So can we learn from Lucy's personal that the best way to deal with these challenges is to be incredibly honest?
Certainly can. And you said earlier in the hour that there's a lot more resources available for addressing health problems, and that's true. But particularly in the case of HIV, prevention means changing behaviour. And to change behaviour, both the individual and those that are promoting the behaviour change have to understand what makes someone change such a personal behaviour, for example, like sexual behaviour. And there's just no one, we don't have a vaccine. So each individual has to go through the stages of, recognising there's a problem, making a plan and changing their behaviour. And I think that's analogous to kind of the individual story that we just heard.
That's right.
And Lucy, do you see it that way? Do you see yourself as just an individual, or are you part of a much bigger picture?
Oh, no, I'm definitely part of a bigger picture. And I think one of my driving aims at the moment is to promote an awareness of muscular dystrophy and FSHD, because people don't know what it is. And like Beth, you can't even pronounce it. It's difficult, which is where the Australia's Biggest Book Group comes into play. And I think
Which you better explain, having introduced it into the conversation.
Yeah, Australia's Biggest Book Group is a fundraising event that we're running over the next few weeks, where we're asking people to log online and purchase our nominated book, which this year is Versace Sisters. It's a light-hearted fun read, and I guess to contrast the seriousness of sombre topic of what MD can be, we've chosen a light-hearted, funny book. And basically we're saying it's so easy. All you have to do is log online and buy the book, and you've done your bit. You don't have to sell raffle tickets, get sponsors, harass your mates.
Go on a fun run.
Climb a mountain. You don't have to do any of that. And you just log online and buy the book. And, and if it's not your cup of tea, and we realise that chiclet's not everybody's thing, but well, then we say you can still contribute. You can buy the book and you can give it to somebody else, and then you've still helped raise funds. And basically, it works out to be nearly $12 from each purchase goes towards muscular dystrophy and to supporting MDA, which is our local organisation here, which is just a fantastic organisation.
Is that Muscular Dystrophy Australia?
It's Muscular Dystrophy Association. In North Melbourne. And look, they run the most amazing programs particularly for kids with Duchenne's MD, and they have a classroom there. Because the thing with Duchenne's is that once the boys it's a much more severe form of muscular dystrophy that causes wasting in little boys, and then when they finish school there's nowhere for them to go. They're not physically able to participate in the workforce, and they can't do uni, but they've got these active brains in these wasted bodies, so they've got a whole program there. And then FSHD Global, which is our other organisation we're supporting, they're the ones who are going to cure me and maybe my kids.
And indeed science may well do so, but Dan, without going into the details of, gene technology and all the rest of it, instead just talking about attitudes, what we're seeing here with Lucy is what you can achieve with an outward-looking approach, and wondering if that's the sort of thing, like the HIV/AIDS epidemic spreading through Africa, if you can spread a positive attitude through Africa at the same time.
Well, yeah, indeed. And I think that, it's a critical part of of dealing with the epidemic is to spread that positive outlook and positive attitude. Yes.
And the openness and honesty that Mike was talking about?
Openness and honesty is very critical. And I think that's growing in Africa at the moment.
Do you think we'll get to the point where we can put it behind us as a race?
Well, yes.
Mike? Yes?
Yes, I think eventually. But we need to be patient, and it needs good leadership. It makes an enormous difference.
Good governance starts at home. And so, Lucy, how do you deal with this in your communications with your daughters?
Look, my kids have been young, and I'm hoping that they grow up like I did, basically, which is just that it's almost part of your normal life. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my aims, is to normalise it. And it is normal. I mean, there's lots of people, we all have different things. Some people are bald, some people limp, some people have, bad fingernails. It's all different. So if we can just put it into that category, and then by the same token, as I was saying to you, if you can deal with your brain, which is really your biggest limitation, then a physical limitation it can be put into a lesser category.
Australia's biggest book group, alloneword.com, australiasbiggestbookgroup.com, and proceeds from the sale of the books through that particular website go to raise money for muscular dystrophy, and you can have a laugh at the same time as Dr. Lucy Burns has been telling us. Good luck with it, Lucy.
Thanks, John.
And our other guests for World Health Day, Professor Mike Toole and Professor Dan Kiana, who are here with Beth Wilson, the Health Services Commissioner, for a very healthy discussion. Richard Stubbs.